What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the We Get to Do This podcast. This week, we have part 2 of Inside a Coaching Call for the Mesa Prep with my coach, Matt Welch. For those of you that do not know, I unfortunately have gotten sick twice in the past month. The second time I got sick, we're pretty sure it was influenza, and it has knocked me quite off course. Very, very sad, very unfortunate. And as I am recording this, we are exactly 4 weeks out from Mesa Marathon and feeling pretty defeated. I think that the bright side was that this coaching call ended up being a pretty cool opportunity to show what goes through my head and an athlete's head when something like this happens. So I'm going to leave it at that. Enjoy the call. I think it's very vulnerable. I think it's very in depth, and I'm pretty excited about it, even though I'm not super excited about where I'm at right now. So as always, if you like the episode, please leave us a rating and review, and enjoy the episode, everyone.
That's okay.
Yeah, I did 20 minutes today.
You did 20 minutes today. Okay. And take me through the last week. So you got this illness. Talk me through what that was like for you and again, kind of how you're feeling today.
Yeah. So Tuesday of last, it is January 14th. Yeah, January 14th. So it's a Wednesday, Tuesday of last week. Well, actually, Monday night of last week, I got a little bit of a cough.
Mm.
It was enough where I was like, okay, this is going on, but I didn't think a whole lot of it at the time. It was kind of there. And then I woke up Tuesday morning and I felt just kind of beat up. And then I checked my aura and it said my HRV was high 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And I had done 27 miles, a yoga session, and a lift the 2 days prior and stuff, and I had felt great during all of it. And so I was like, honestly, I'm probably just beat up. I'm going to take, a rest day and I should be good to go tomorrow. And then by 9 a.m. that morning, I was like, fuck, I got to go home. So I canceled 5 clients and I was like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take some ibuprofen, which I never do. And I said, absolutely have to. And I'm going to sleep. And then again, I'm still maybe I just overtrained a little bit. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I was I had just gotten sick 3 weeks ago. So I just I couldn't believe I was sick again. Right.
Yeah.
So then I went home, I took a nap, let the ibuprofen kick in, and I felt better.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. And then I got up and I couldn't really sleep much more. And I still had 3 hours before I was going to go back to work at 4 p.m. that day. And it was gradually getting worse again. I could tell the ibuprofen was wearing off. And I went to work and I just kind of sat there, was drinking shit tons of tea because it wasn't feeling right, and worked that whole night. And then I went home, was just drained, took cold medicine, and then woke up the next day and my body felt like ass. And then my aura matched that this time. And usually when it matches, then I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, then you take it seriously.
Yeah, dude, my HRV was it was either Wednesday or I think Wednesday was the super low day. It was 20, some crazy shit, super low. My body temp was plus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. And I was like, oh, fuck. Cotton chills, aches, all of that.
Yeah.
And I didn't move. I got out of bed and didn't move from the couch all morning. And my appetite was gone. I was like, fuck, okay. I am feeling like ass now. But I was still okay, I believe I'm going to be okay. And I tried to record a podcast that afternoon and barely made it through the episode. I was getting stuffed up at this point. Still believed. And then the next day I woke up, the HRV was higher. So I was like, okay, I'm feeling better. I got this. I took a COVID test just to make sure I didn't have COVID. That's kind of what it felt like. And then I went back to work, but I canceled my, my training session with my trainer. So I was like, I am not moving today though. But I was like, I need to get to work, whatever. So I did that. And then throughout Thursday, it just got worse and worse and worse. And then I was like, okay, but I worked today, so I should be able to work tomorrow. Went to bed Thursday night. And then Saturday night, dude, I woke up in the middle of the night and had the worst chills and like the highest my fever had been. It was like shivering in bed. I couldn't sleep. I felt like I had like burning coal in my throat. And Kailee was like, "Do we need to bring you to the ER?" I was like freaking out. I was in
Wow.
rough shape.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then I had a fever until like Friday afternoon. That was also the first day that I had my last, like, I was doing cold meds every like 5 hours for like
Whoa.
starting Tuesday night until Friday at like 3 a.m. So I think
Yeah.
that, I kind of weaned off of that. So I think that was part of it, but canceled all of Friday. And
Yeah.
then like Sunday night, I woke up in like night sweats. So I still was like dealing with shit Sunday night.
So it's like
Tuesday, I
6
fell
days.
asleep in the middle of the day Tuesday. Yeah. Like, which I never do when I haven't even been exercising. And I like just
Yeah.
fell asleep
Yeah.
on the couch because I was so tired. I still, my voice is still like croaky
Mhm.
and I'm still coughing a little bit.
Okay.
Um, I
Dang.
feel like the energy's coming back. Dude, I got fucking rocked. And I'm so fucking frustrated about it.
I know, dude.
Like,
You're
dude,
vibing. Yeah.
I was like, Keely also left for Patagonia
Yeah.
yesterday. It's like the timing of it. She's gone for 2 weeks
Wow.
now. But I was like
Oh,
depressed last
I
week, like
bet. Yes. Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I was having all these thoughts about how I'm like, you know what? At what point do you decide to say fuck it and just not run the race? Like,
Yeah.
those are going through my head. I'm like, should I just do a half? Like, I
Mhm.
don't even want to train anymore. I've been
Yeah.
down bad for sure. This is
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
it's
But
like
it's
a little,
understandable. When you're down that bad, like, the last thing that I wanna do, at least when I'm in that state, is to, like, think about training hard because you feel
yeah,
so shitty, and you're like, "I can't even move my body." Like, I'm literally falling asleep in the middle of the afternoon. It's hard to even comprehend having the mental resilience to push, in training or in a race or in anything like that. You're just in survival mode at that point. Um,
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah. The idea of like, I mean, when you go into a marathon, you have to be like, it's like 99% mental at like the actual race at that point. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah, because
maybe
you did a
one,
yeah,
but
yeah, you did all the physical preparations that you could, and really, I think the difference of, like, you running, the way that you really want to and you running, like, well, is definitely, like, you having rested your resiliency in some way.
Mhm.
Like, again, you've, like, um, packaged it in a way to not, like, deplete it before that race. In, like and it's a really weird way to think about it, but I think that's why, like, a lot of elite runners will, like, produce as many possible decisions that they have to make leading up into the race and let other people plan things for them. And then they will literally just veg on, their bed watching TV just to preserve that, like, mental effort that it's gonna take to push in those moments in a marathon that are really, really difficult when you're straining your mental energy. Like, I think that really does have an impact.
Why is it that, I swear to God, every time I sign up for a marathon, something happens.
Dude,
Every
it's
I
it's
I
it's a
put
curse.
together like 8 60+ mile weeks.
Yeah.
No problem. No
Mhm.
issue. Sign up for a marathon, and then it's like I had javelina, I got sick, I had that half marathon, which was my choice, so was javelina, and then I got sick again.
Mhm. Yeah, you're getting sick a lot. So, I think that might be worth exploring is I think usually high rates of sickness, I think has become so much more complicated in the last couple of years because I think everybody's getting more sick more frequently. And I recall probably between the years of like 2012 to 2020, I got sick maybe once. And every year since I've gotten horrendously sick at least once, where I'm out for a whole week at least, pretty much every single year since 2020. Um, But I think a thing that I quickly look to is if you're getting sick more than that is like your nutrition. Um, in and I'm of course not assuming this for you, but to maybe think about, are you fueling enough? Especially when you're training as hard as you're training, making sure that again, you're getting in an adequate amount of calories so that your body is able to repair itself and also have the energy to stave off um, the illnesses that are constantly surrounding you, especially as a social person where you're always in the gym and you're always around a bunch of people.
Sorry, Kaylee's FaceTime me 4 times.
You're good. Do you want to? Yeah. Why don't you take it? No sweat.
Hi, boyfriend.
Hi, you're on the call with Matt and I. Welcome to the podcast. Is
Hi,
everything
Matt.
is everything okay?
Hi. Welcome to the pod.
Hi. Wow, this is so exciting. I get to be a guest on my own pod.
Matt was in the process of telling me that I need to eat better.
I I'm just saying
Tell me more.
it could be a factor if Jacob's getting sick a lot. That's one of the first things I look to is if somebody's consuming enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
I
We've
agree.
been talking about that.
Oh, okay. So it's already been in the space. Okay. What have you guys been talking about? What has things look like for you lately?
Well, I feel like, man, maybe I wasn't eating enough. I feel like a big part of it was the holidays and just eating like so much garbage
Eating different.
and eating different.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's so frustrating. This is where like it's also there's so much here because then like when you go and unpack it, like the weekend before I got sick, that Saturday, it's no one's fault but my own. And I know this. I said yes to too many things. And that Saturday, like I did a workout in the morning and ran like 6 miles at night or something. Man, I ate probably like 1,200 calories. Probably that day. We went to like a casino and played bingo in the afternoon. That took like fucking 5 hours. And I just sat there and played bingo.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to eat the casino food because it was disgusting.
Yeah.
So we like got a little bit of food and I took a few bites and I was like, I'm not eating this. I'll just eat more tonight. But like I didn't really like realize it at the time. And then afterwards I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because
Yeah.
there's probably more days like that than that one, that you just don't realize.
Yeah. And I think it's usually easy to point at a day like that. And it's with my own experience, and I think with working with people, it's never one day.
Right.
Our bodies are so fit and capable of living for a while without food and still even training for a while without food. But it's usually a chronic thing or things unfolding in an unlucky way, right? A couple times over, where it could have been that, bad night of sleep after that. And then you got exposed to somebody who's sick and then a couple more bad nights of sleep. And that could be enough, right? It just like unfolding in that way. And the nutrition piece could just be a piece of it. But it sounds like it's a piece that could be worth some additional looking into. I think as we continue towards Mesa, but I think onwards. And I think especially balancing a complex life like you live, training at a really high level now with the type of volume that you're doing and making sure that you're fueling consistently enough and enough, period.
Yeah, because I think I did a good job of doing it during.
Mhm.
I think like during workouts and long runs, and even like an 8 mile run, like taking a Jello. I think I've gotten a lot better at that. Um, I think I still kind of play the like worrying about eating the right things, that card a little bit. Not in like the being afraid to eat foods necessarily because what it's going to do to my body, like the way it
Mhm.
looks, but more so in the, because that was like in the past for sure, but more so in like the running so much that you get afraid to eat like anything that might upset your stomach because
Sure.
you don't
Yeah.
have like issues on the run. I feel like I get
Yeah.
into that a lot where like
Mhm.
I'll be like, all right, I'm just gonna wait to eat like vegetables until nighttime because I
Yeah.
have 2
Yeah.
runs and a workout and I don't want my stomach to be
Totally. Yeah. Or I'm not going to eat vegetables the day before a workout,
right,
you know,
right, right.
so,
Yeah, that type
um,
of thing. So I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's a good call out for sure that I,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And I think I think how I think about, and I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not an expert by any means. But I think what is most important is at first you get enough food. Always you have to get enough. And then from there, you're like, okay, what are the better foods that I can eat? Right? It's like enough food in the right times by making sure that you're fueling during your workout, before your workout, after your workout. And then always having backup food. This is something that I've done recently is like always packing bars, trail mix, things that can kind of be stored for a while in my glove compartment, in my desk at work. So when the inevitable happens, which is I miss lunch, I'm dealing with a crisis. I go to the casino to play bingo with my friends and they have really shitty food. You know what? I got a granola bar. So at least I have 250 calories that I can shove down my throat that I hate because I've had 15 million granola bars in my life, but it's something. And then really hold yourself to a commitment to eat something later, even if it is a pizza, knowing that you have to catch up 2,000 calories that night because you're down. Um, but knowing that, okay, then that's another opportunity to reset the next day if you're actively trying to eat maybe quote unquote better foods than that.
what
What do you
about
think of
like,
that?
yeah, it's also really hard. I'm curious what your opinion is on this. It's really hard. Again, this isn't me putting blame on anyone. Um, it is very hard trying to eat enough when everyone around you is not in need of eating that much. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Like if you're going to like a friend's thing,
for
if you're
sure.
going, if like even with your partner, just like making dinner at home, things like that. No one is, well, maybe people are judging me. I don't know. You know,
No,
no
but
one's
I,
judging me, but
yeah,
I think I'm getting judged. Like, what
yeah.
do you, does that make sense? Do you like, well, how do you deal
So
with
I
that?
think we need to explore that. Jacob, what is,
Well, it's not like, honestly, I'm less about like the
but it's the inconvenience factor of
yes. It's more of like
yes,
the,
I understand that.
okay, we gotta stop at a gas station because I can't go 4 hours without eating.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could, I don't, but I need to eat something because I think that's a big part. Like at the casino, I'm like quickly leaving and then being
yeah,
like, I don't want to, that is definitely something I do on a
yeah,
regular. I think a lot of
and
people do.
I think that is complicated, and I think I had to deal with that a lot as a vegan, and I definitely think my issue as a vegan was I wasn't eating enough because of the very similar things. Is I didn't want to be a burden to others. Like we'd go to a restaurant, they had no food. And then I didn't want to be like to my friends, hey, can we go to another restaurant so I can eat?
Mhm.
I just wouldn't eat. And then sometimes just literally would just not eat for the rest of the night. And then your hunger kind of subsides eventually and you feel fine.
Right.
Um, but I think preparing for that, again, I think like always having a plan with how you're going to eat throughout the day. If, again, you find yourself in that situation again, you already have in your backpack some trail mix, right? You have some granola bars, you have some beef jerky, you have things that are just really easily packable that then you can be like, hey, I'm just going to run out to the car real quick and I have the keys. I'm just going to grab a snack. So then you're not really leaving, you're just grabbing some food there. Um, I think that would probably be the biggest thing. And then also just knowing what your needs are and making them known. And seeing yourself, I think, especially in your capacity where you're around a lot of people who are moving their bodies and care about their bodies. And we don't talk about nutrition enough, and we don't advocate for our own needs enough. That I think in you actually advocating for your needs in some of those environments will actually give permission for maybe other people to be like, you know what, I actually haven't eaten today either. Like I'm actually really glad that you brought this up because I was also not going to eat. And now I'm going to go eat with you, because I wasn't even thinking about it. Like you're maybe bringing people to the present moment and being conscious themselves about their own needs in making your needs known. So I actually think that could be really powerful in those group situations. So maybe, does that make sense? So maybe those two things, maybe you can think about as like being prepared and always being equipped with some calories. And then,
I think when you said advocate for my needs, I think that kind of what is what it is. Because it's not just nutrition, it's the sleep, it's being protective of my schedule, it's all that shit,
It is. Yeah. And I think what is super important, and I don't think people talk about this enough, is we're not robots, right? And I think what really negatively impacts, especially sleep, is when you get stressed about sleep, right? Like, and I think that's disastrous. Like when you're tweaking out about your own sleep. So I think you have to like be fluid with like, I really care about my friends and I want to stay up late, to hang out with my friends. But then that means the consequence of that is like, I want to be really diligent the next couple of nights and that I'm not going to stay up late to watch the new Criminal Minds season that just came out, you know? But to have the flexibility where like in those moments that you can do that, like you don't have to go to sleep at 9 o'clock every single night, or you don't have to eat that perfect thing, or you don't need to run your training exactly as it's written. It's all a guide. It's all an outline to direct action in a way that is hopefully sustainable, but also is directed at a goal of you improving yourself and reaching, right, a better version of yourself, each and every day, each and every cycle, each and every year. It'd be easier if it was black and white, good, bad, but we don't have that pleasure as humans.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. No, that helps. That helps. I think that's a good thing to remember as I guess, go forward for like future training.
Yeah. And I, from what I'm hearing, like I really wouldn't think about the sickness of you really doing anything wrong, because it doesn't really, like, you are living your life and doing what you've been doing. And we are facing a huge wave of illness across the whole country that is unprecedented. The intensity of illness that we're seeing with flus, a variety of different viruses, COVID, of course, is always back. Like, it's just so intense and it's morphed in all these different ways that very few people, I think, are able to avoid it now.
Yeah, and
So-
Kailee likes to point out too that like the specific season that I am training through right now is I'm 180ing what my body wants to do. Like I'm very much fighting against we have less daylight.
Yep.
Like I have to do a lot of runs on the tread. Daylight
Mhm.
reasons, cold reasons, things like that. It is the time where like my body normally is like, I'm looking for more warm foods. I don't want to be outside in the cold. I want to be lifting more, things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just my mind is like trying to like fight that. It is, struggling in that sense too. So I'm like, it's illness season. Yeah.
It is. Yeah,
there is more
absolutely.
things out there, like you were just saying too. So it's
Yep.
like, and I signed up for it. I did it to
Mhm.
myself. 'Cause I thought
Mhm.
I was different. I'm not different.
Well, you are. You're very special, Jacob.
But uh okay, for right now, how worried do I need to be about having a race in 30 days? Not
Uh,
especially.
okay, well, I have my opinions, but I wanna hear first where your head's at, because my opinions will influence your opinions. So what
Mm,
what where's your head at now, knowing that you're coming out of your sickness?
that's exactly what I would do to an athlete if they asked me that
Uh,
question. I can respect
see.
that.
Yep, we're wise,
I
aren't
can
we?
respect that move. Um, Dude, honestly, I don't want to run a marathon like at all.
Mhm,
I am like in a very, even like injuries haven't, and I think it could partly be because I am still coming out of it, you know? So
mhm,
I think that I'm still like in the funk. But like the first time I got sick, it was like, fuck, damn it. Like this sucks. But like I was itching to get back. And the whole time
mhm,
I was sick, I was like, I'm gonna be ready to go tomorrow. You know, this time I feel like a deflated balloon,
mhm.
honestly, just being
Yeah,
honest. And I am very much like the idea of running doesn't even sound fun, but it's not just running. It's like the idea of lifting
totally.
everything. I'm like,
Doing anything
I
hard.
don't want to do anything. I don't even want to work. Like I'm very
Yeah.
like,
Oh, totally.
fucked. All right. I'm like, you know, I want to throw the towel in.
Yeah.
Like yeah, definitely a different vibe this time. It's been kind of like, it's almost been more like, how long can I put off running this time?
Yeah.
Whereas normally it's like, when can I get back? Um,
Mhm,
and like, you know, all of the negatives are creeping in of like, it just wasn't my time. It is what it
mhm,
is, you know, and
mhm.
things like that. And then like I do, as someone who is very process goal oriented, I think that that's where I like especially get hit hard because I
Yeah.
feel like I was finally at the point where like I could run 10 miles a day for 3 weeks straight. Like
Yeah.
I truly felt like I was ready
Yeah.
for it. And like,
Mhm.
fuck, it takes like just to get back to that takes a few weeks. And then like now I don't get to do that. Like I feel like I was robbed of like that. Um,
Mhm.
and like as someone who has liked the process definitely more than racing, I'm like, I don't want to like, you know, now maintain and then run a race in 3 weeks and then
Mhm.
have to take time off. Like I feel like now I'm just going in like I never got to do my peak. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Yeah.
like, it's almost like I want to just skip like doing this like little maintenance thing, race, and then take time down and then just, and like
Mhm.
instead just like, all right, take time down and then rebuild
Mhm.
and say, fuck
Mhm.
Mesa. That's like
Sure.
mentally where I'm at. But then I start grappling with like, what kind of like, what would I tell my athletes? How do I want to show up? I can do the race. I'm not injured. You know, it's not like a thing like that.
Mhm.
Um, but the last thing is like, this is one of those things that could be taken arrogantly. So I apologize if someone gets offended by this. I really don't mean this in an arrogant way. I've ran 10 marathons. I don't want to run another marathon just to run 310. I just don't, I don't want to do it. Like,
Oh,
and if
I
I'm
got
not able to run at least a low three, I don't want to fucking do it. Like, I don't want to put my body through that at all. Um, so
and I
that
would
like
say,
that's
honestly, if you're not, because I mean, I think things were indicating that you're gonna break 3, right? I think that's how things were going,
Yeah, I
and
felt like it. I really
and
did. I felt
and
so fit. That 17 miler I did, I was like, "Oh, I couldn't fucking believe it."
yeah. Yeah, and I think that is actually a sign of maturity when you say, "I don't want to show up to a start line unless I know that I'm gonna," or like, "I've done everything up to that point that I can to set myself up to run a sub 3." right? Because that's exciting. Like I think about myself, like I'm not excited to run a 2:18 marathon. That means nothing to me. But if I run the Olympic trials qualifier, yeah, hell yeah. That's great. Cool. But like anything slower than that, like I wouldn't waste my time. Like and yeah, sure, people can see that being arrogant, but it's me running the race. It's me training for the race.
Mhm.
Nobody else's.
Uh-huh.
It's my goals. And for me, that's exciting, and I think if I was in your shoes, I also would feel very excited to, run a time that you've run many times over, knowing that have put in way better training than previous years. So do you feel like that's pretty set in stone in your heart that you don't want to do Mesa?
Well, then the other thing is the logistics of it all. Of
Mhm.
I'm like, what can I get refunded for? You know, I haven't looked at that yet, so I wanted to talk to you first and
Mhm.
talk with Kaylee too. And I was
Sure.
like, it's a smaller race
Is Kaylee
too.
still on this call?
Yeah, she hasn't said anything, but I
Oh.
never hung up.
Oh.
um, but
I'm still here.
Just
she's still
curious.
here. Um, looking at the other distances too. Um, because we have flights booked and everything, and we were gonna take a week vacation and do it's on Valentine's Day, so do a Valentine's Day
Oh,
thing and go see
yeah.
Flagstaff and stuff like that, and
Yeah, very cool.
do a lot. So yeah, I don't know, the logistics side of it.
Mhm.
You
But
know,
you could go the consequence of not racing, though, would be you probably don't get that money back from a race, probably.
yeah, and
But
I'm if I didn't race it, then I'm like, well, if Kaylee's cool with it, I would still like to go. And
yeah.
I kind of was like, it'd be kind of fun to try to convince Kaylee to do the half and do it with her.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
other thing I think about though is okay, so then what I do instead?
Uh-huh.
And then that there's curveballs with that too, because it's okay, I can wait till grandma's, but we're getting married 4 weeks prior, and I have my bachelor party and a buddy's bachelor party in Miami that
Mm.
in the month of May. I know the month of May is just not gonna
Both
be.
both in the month of May.
Yeah, I've got 3 big weekends in the month of May. So, which is part of the reason I signed up for Mesa, because I was like, I want to be able to not have to you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I could revisit an April race. I also know I'm not ignorant to the fact that me training at this level puts a lot of stress on Kaylee, and I really don't want to do that. And myself, it puts stress on both of us. I really don't want to do that in the 3 months leading up to the wedding.
Mhm.
So I think there's a few things like that still to kind of
Mhm.
think about. I don't really know of any March marathons. And then it's well, I could just wait, I guess, but I don't know. I guess there's some stuff to think about still, but
Yeah, I think there's a lot. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to think about. And I think you're ultimately going to have to make the decision on all of these things. I think going back to the impact that stress has and the influence of pressure, I don't think pressure, unless you're a professional athlete, I don't think pressure's good. Right. I think you describing maybe a pressure of squeezing in a race before May or before you
mhm.
get married, I don't feel like that's the best way to think about performance. I think for somebody who is juggling a lot in their life, and I would love for you to decide on a race where you feel like you can give it, you know, the adequate amount of attention that you would feel satisfied with, and that you don't
Okay.
feel that pressure to squeeze it in and to do it all in the right way before this, whatever it might be. And I'm sensing that also yeah, that's thinking about it that way where your May is going to be really, you know, full and
Mhm.
complex and multi-layered, and outside of running. Like it's just nothing really to do with running. Um, and that would probably impact your training and preparation for grandmas. So what if you did just do a fall marathon and that was your marathon for this year? And then you did things that are maybe outside of your comfort zone for the rest of this year, working on some weakness that we just haven't had the time to really work on, you know?
Well, I did sign up for Javelina 100K in the fall.
Which is November?
Basically, it's Halloween weekend.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I mean, I do feel like confident that I could do that off after like a marathon. Like I feel like I could rip TCM and then like just I don't have any goals for Javelina. So and there's no cutoff because there's a cutoff, but it's like the 100-mile cutoff. So I think I have like
Oh.
30 hours to do it.
Oh,
So
geez.
my point with that is like I could just do it.
You
know,
can
like I
walk
don't.
it.
And it's
Yeah.
that's the furthest of it I'll have ever gone. So
Yeah.
I don't have any, So that does I don't hate that idea.
hmm
Um
Yeah. What if the target was TCM? I think I'm going to plan to do that myself. So
Oh,
that'd be
really?
kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
So that would be kind of fun.
that's
hmm
intriguing.
hmm And then you break 3. I'll run 2:14, 2:15. You
That'd be
know?
pretty lit.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
That'd be
Right.
pretty lit.
And then, this spring, you go to Arizona, you have an absolute blast. You just enjoy running and listening to your body the next couple of weeks. And then we get you fast again, maybe the spring, which would require less training, less volume, that is. I think that would be kind of fun. You really hit the gym hard, continue to work on your strength training, do the wedding thing. I don't know if you guys are going on a honeymoon somewhere in the summer.
Yeah, we're gonna go up north. I think we're gonna go to New Zealand next January. But like we're gonna do like a mini moon and then a honeymoon next
Mini
January.
moon. I like that. Yeah. Uh, but then you'd have, then the stress of prepping for a wedding, and, setting your guys' new life up for whatever that might look like. Then you'll be through the majority of that. And then you'd have 3 weeks starting in July, late June, or 3 months, excuse me, to prep for Twin Cities. And that would be plenty of time, 12 weeks. In the heart of the summer where you're going to feel way more motivated anyway to
Right.
train for a marathon. Because it's going to be light out. People are going to be happy. They're going to be smiling. Group runs all over the place. River Road's going to be popping off. Like I think that would be a very fine option for you.
Mhm.
But I think you really do have to determine for yourself, like what feels most exciting. Like if you want,
Mhm.
and I do not believe in this wasted fitness mentality that like the work that you put in is by no means wasted. Like your body will remember that and it's become cellular. So I think anything that you decide to do, it's going to join you, and making that next challenge that much easier because you have that fitness within you. So, and I don't think it disappears.
What do you think would be realistic for Mesa if I did decide to do it? Like what would like training look like for the next 30
I think
days?
training would look like pretty unstructured for the next week. I think it would be um, as you feel for the next week until you got that sense of like, oh, I want to push my body. Like I'm feeling like an energy within my body and I feel like I want to challenge myself. And then I think I'd introduce some workouts. I think if you were running within a week and kind of able to get back to a couple workouts a week, I think you would perform quite well. Because I think you're going to bounce back pretty quickly from this, like you did the last sickness. Like I think, again, you've become such a well-oiled machine that I think it just becomes easier and easier for you when you return back from injuries, from breaks, from sickness, and are able to pick up pretty much where you left off. And as you know, like physiologically, you're really not losing much fitness in a week. Like that's not how it actually works. I think it's just the mental side of things that kind of complicates it. So,
Well, and I also think like I might not be losing, but
but
like
I don't think you gain that much in a week either, right?
right. But what's realistic for me? It's like so I got back to 60, and we were gonna go like 65 to 70,
Hmm.
70 plus, 70 plus.
Hmm.
Now and then taper, basically.
Hmm.
Now it's like I did 10 last week. Best case scenario, I get to like 40, 35. That'd be like best case scenario. Because I only have 4 days in the week, actually. So that'd be pretty wicked. So realistically, it's probably like 30 this week.
Hmm.
Next week, it's like 50, maybe.
Dude,
And then like 1 week, and
I have some different philosophy. I think if you were feeling 100%, I'd give you 60 plus the following week. Like, I think you'd be right there. There'd be no, in my mind, reason to be cautious in that way. Like, you were already there. You maintained that for many weeks. Your body can clearly handle that. And a week and a half low or down from that,
Mhm.
wouldn't really change much. So I think you'd, be able to do a couple back-to-back 60 plus, maybe even high 60s, 1 week. And then it would be probably less of a taper, but I think you'd probably like that because you kind of had a built-in break here, like, so then it'd be like, yeah, it wouldn't be a full 2 week and a half taper. It might just be a week taper or a
Mhm.
6-day taper, but I
Mhm.
don't think that would really negatively impact your performance. I think that would actually be better in this situation because I think then hopefully that would give you just a little bit more time to get more and more excited about it.
Mhm.
You know, what are your thoughts on that?
Um, my thoughts are like, I feel like I basically probably need a week to like decide.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is
Yeah,
kind of
I
like
would.
where it's like it is
Yeah,
kind of like like today when I ran, for example, I did 20 minutes, and by the end of it, I was like coughing, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be done. So I think that's also like we could be looking at a week still, and I might not feel good. I mean, then that makes
totally.
that decision easier too.
Yeah, and that's more information, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's really wise, and I think oftentimes when we run into something like this so close to a goal race, right, we're so quick to make an emotional decision
Right. I think
because
that's probably what I'm doing right now too.
it's safe. Yeah, for sure. And
Right.
I think you are calculated. I think I want to give you credit for that. Like you didn't pull out of the race 2 days after you got sick and actually took action on that. You've just been thinking about it. Oh, I have some legitimate concerns, right? Which is valid. Um, but I do think to really talk about it, to put it into some type of an action plan, I think there would be value in you taking a whole week, not thinking about or even looking at what it would be like to cancel or to pull out until this time next week, right? And just continue this week assessing how you're feeling, moving your body every single day, trying to run, increase the volume. Maybe this weekend, give you a light intensity day to kind of test things out. And if you're feeling energized, if you're feeling like you can respond to the mileage and something like that, then maybe you're going to feel stoked to race.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe not. And then again, I think at that point, you'll feel better about that decision either way.
I like that. I like that plan.
Yeah.
Kailee, do you have anything to add?
Always. I agree with what Matt said. I think you've been working so hard for this for so long. Like, this wasn't a 4 or 8 week training plan. Like, you've been working on this for the last year. This, like Matt said, like that training, I mean, you know this, Jacob, but training doesn't go away in a week or the 2 weeks that you've had in the last month. Like, that's just not the case. Like, you've been working for this for literally years, and this training plan has been built up for a long time. You've been so stoked about it. You've put in the time. You know what to do. And I know it's been so hard lately and very shitty, but while I don't want you to do something that you don't want to do and that you're not stoked about, because this is supposed to be fun. You're a recreational athlete. It's we're doing this for the enjoyment of it. You've put in the time, and I'm very excited to go to Mesa with you. And who cares what happens? You run a 3:10, you would have, I mean, not to pull this card, but you would have dreamed of that, a year or two ago, and 10 years ago, obviously. And I know it's a lot to put your body through and all of that, but I think you can do better than that. And I do think it's a celebration thing too. And yes, it's hard on your body. The training's hard, but now you have had pretty great taper, and you are injury free. I know you've been sick and coughing and stuff, so I'm not trying to negate that, but your body, like physically, muscles and whatever, all feel good for the first time. And you haven't had that for a training block before. And also logistically, I did look at the withdrawal, and that passed yesterday. So that's kind of out of the question. So obviously you can just not do it, but we can't refund anything at the moment. And we're going to Flagstaff. We're going to Sedona. It's Valentine's Day weekend. We love spending time together. And yeah, I want you to do what you want, but I do think that you still have so much potential, and this is what you've been training for.
Damn.
And it's a month away, right?
Yeah.
So much can change in the month, with how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And again, it's you're thinking about it from the headspace of how you felt the last week, right? The devastation, the sadness, the darkness, it just doesn't, it's not fun. It's not flirty. It's not exciting. It's nothing that you wanted it to be. But just because that's the way that you think about it now doesn't mean that that's the way that it's going to look like a week from now or 2 weeks from now. But I do see the value in keeping the door open right now. Yeah. And then
I like that game plan.
Yeah. And then what a beautiful opportunity, right? For you who you're so open and clear about the importance of the process over the outcome. And that this is where the process is kind of unsexy, right? This kind of sucks. The outcome's breaking 3, really running your best marathon and having things going so well for so long, and a true readiness, to tap into your potential in the realest way yet. And then to have struggle after struggle, be oh fuck, this is actually what running the process looks like, and walking the path,
Wow. You guys are dropping truth bombs. It's good.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to hear that. I have one more question we can end off. That's cool. And then I'm going to talk to Bay.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask this because I think it's important for clients to hear this, and it went through my head, and I'm just curious what you would say to this. One of the first things I thought about was letting you down when I got sick. And I think
For
that
sure.
that's not something that we talk about enough. And I know that I didn't, but I have had so many athletes that feel like they let me down when something goes wrong in their training. And like
Yeah.
from the coach perspective, I'm like, fuck, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
But I feel like
Yeah.
the athlete and like that went through my head.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, we can end there with what,
Yeah.
I guess what you would say to like me but any athlete listening that I have a coach.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that you'd probably say something similar, but like I think what I feel super invested in your journey because it's yours. Like, and then I just get really bummed out that you got sick. Like things were going so well. So then I just get really sad that you're having to overcome that, in the midst of, you know, having things really just flow so nicely, and then like the selfish part of me is just like, dude, I just really wanted to see you thrive. Like, I just really wanted to see you crush that race. Like, I don't at all feel like, oh man, like there it is again, Jacob not doing what I'm saying, like what, like whatever that might look like. But like, it never crossed my mind, that you haven't committed yourself, to this process and to this plan and have done everything that you could to, run the way that you want to at Mesa. Um, and I think that's such a normal reaction, I think, for anybody to feel. Like I felt that with all of my coaches I've ever worked with. It's because they've committed time and energy into helping me. And yeah, it feels like a reflection of my commitment to them, sometimes when things don't go well. And yeah, I think it's just so important to really catch yourself in those moments, and recognize that I think I'm here working with you because I want to, right? And it makes me feel very excited, I think, to see you grow and evolve and to get stronger and fitter and faster. Just like you feel the same way with your athletes, doing the same exact things. Like, how do you think about it with your athletes who ask you that same question?
I'm trying to like answer it differently than you just did, but I feel like you did. You put it pretty perfectly. I mean, bluntly, the only time I would be disappointed, I guess, is if like they weren't following like guidance or recommendations and like the same thing kept happening, I guess. But like
Yeah.
if it's not a situation, because that has happened, so there are like the exceptions, but if it's not a situation like that,
Mm.
I think that honestly, and I think I can say this because this is how I feel. That's when I a lot of times play the recreational card too, because my athletes are all recreational runners, and I remind them that like we oftentimes put a lot of stress on ourselves, and like that disappointment feeling might be coming more from like ourselves. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then it's like work to be done of like why are we disappointed, and like why are you so afraid of letting other people down? I think it
Mhm.
kind of comes down to putting it kind of back on
For
the
sure.
athlete a little bit.
I like that because I think it is easier to externalize our feelings,
Yeah,
right? To be like,
right,
oh, somebody else is disappointed in me, but in reality, I'm just really disappointed in myself.
right.
Like,
I
yeah,
think
and
that's part of it for
yeah,
sure.
I think that's a really interesting way to put it. I think that's wise.
But I don't know if I've ever heard a podcast talk about that, and it
Yeah,
was something that I was thinking about, and I think it was worth bringing up, and like, yeah,
yeah,
you said it very well too with the guidance thing of like, we we're also human beings too. I think that's another thing that people need to remember. Like, we're a team, I think, that people forget sometimes. And like, what we say is not set in stone. What we say is not like black or white. It's not definitive. There are a lot of things. And like, at the end of the day too, like, your body way the best. No one's gonna know it any better than you are. And the decisions you make are ultimately your decisions. Right. And I think that it's important to remember that as well. And then like use that collaboratively with your coach too, and work as a team and give them feedback and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's never. I mean, I truly believe this. And even in this type of a situation, like I don't think it's ever like somebody's fault, right? It's always an opportunity, for me to look back, which I have to kind of look back at kind of the training leading up to when you got sick. It's like, like did I as a coach periodize things in a way that was appropriate, so that you didn't get set up for failure, based on how we trained, the things that I can control, right, in our relationship, and I was like, oh, maybe I'd try something different, this season. I think I've been like calculating all these different things, like, oh, now maybe I'm going to think a little bit differently about how I train people during the winter for winter races.
that
And
was on
maybe I
my
will
list
be,
too.
yeah, and maybe I will be a little bit more proactive about having conversations about nutrition and being like, actually, this is like an extra important season to maybe eat more than what you think you eat, right? Because everyone's getting sick, and training's really hard during the winter and it's dark all the time. Like maybe we could just tweak things differently, and I think that's the opportunity as a coach. But I think also hopefully helpful for the athlete to recognize that the burden isn't always just on them. Even though, of course, getting sick is kind of outside of your control in a lot of ways, especially for you who, I'm sure 90% of the time does everything right, you know? So, like, it's just like you existing as a human being in a complex way, having relationships with other people and not being a robot running 60 miles a week and not, you know, like, yeah, stretching outside of your protocol. So, yeah, but it's complex, and I think it's important to talk about. And I think I'll encourage you. My ask of you, I think, moving forward, is if you do feel that sense of feeling like you're disappointing me with these things, is to bring it up in a conversation. And I think it's worth voicing it out loud. I think there's power in that. I think it's easier to look at and examine when it's vocalized, than when you have it inside of your head where you fuel it with a bunch of stories that tend to not be true. How's
I like it.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Cool.
And thanks for calling. I like our game plan for the week.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what I'd suggest is I'm not even going to put anything on Final Surge, at least for now, is to just think about if you can get out and move your body for the next couple of days, envision 20 to 30 minutes maximum.
Okay.
Pace as comfortable, and don't try as hard as you can to not think about placing meaning on that run. Right?
Okay.
It's you going out for a run that day. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that because you're feeling good that you're going to run fast in the marathon and you're going to do the marathon, or if you run bad that you're going to axe marathon. So, hey, tomorrow's just run 20 to 30 minutes. That's what's prescribed. Do it, check the box, move on to something else.
I like it. I'm going to buy some new shoes too.
Yeah, cool. That'll help. and then we can talk before the weekend.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Bye, Kailee. Hope you're having a blast.
Thanks, Matt. We are. I went to a football game tonight. It was a blast.
Wow, Kailee, we made it through another episode. What do you think?
We would love if you would go give us a follow, a 5-star review, and comment on the episode and what you liked and what you'd like to see more of.
See you next time.
We get to do this